Chancellor Gillian Broadbent, Vice-Chancellor Paul Wellings, members of the university, distinguished guests, friends, and especially the new graduates. Firstly, may I offer you my congratulations on your graduation from the University of Wollongong today. Undertaking and then completing your degree is a very significant step in your lives and in the lives of your families. Today, I know, is the culmination of years of hard work and dedication, and not just at this university. Very many sacrifices have been made by you and by your families to reach this moment. Before I say something about the world of work that awaits you, let me first acknowledge the award of this honorary doctorate. Thank you very much for the great honour which you have bestowed on me. I'm both humbled and proud to accept the award of the honorary doctorate from this university. I will always cherish it and do all I can to ensure that I live up to it. When I left St Mary's College in 1968, there was no University of Wollongong. It was a college of the University of New South Wales, attended a few years later by one of my sisters, specialising largely in engineering and metallurgy. My interest lay in other directions, so I left Wollongong and have been back regularly for family events and to catch up with friends. And I want to say, based on my experience, just a few words to those of you graduating today. Apart from the years I spent in the public service, the rest of my career has been spent in banking and financial services. And I've been involved in a number of areas of financial services since about 1998. Spent 8 years as a senior executive at the ANZ, 10 years as a director of Perpetual, a funds management and trustee company, and for the last 10 years I've been chairman of the Bank of Melbourne and more recently Westpac Victoria. It's been my experience that the vast majority of people who work in financial services are hardworking, dedicated people whose main aim is customer service, excellent advice, and commitment to the people they work with. I'm sure this will also be your experience if you enter the world of financial services or business generally. However, there will always be a small group of people, as in all walks of life, who have different aims or who perhaps find the temptation of working with money, especially other people's money, to be too great. The past few years have seen a steady stream of media stories about shoddy advice that was not in the customer's interest, fraudulent behaviour by financial planners, and about excessive remuneration paid to traders and executives and others whose only aim in life seemed to be self-enrichment. When some people tried to blow the whistle on this behaviour within their organisations, they were often the ones who were ostracised and in many cases lost their employment. I do want to stress that unethical behaviour in financial services and more broadly is engaged in by very few people, but it does mean that the rest of us must be vigilant about our behaviour and our standards, and also unafraid to deal with unethical behaviour when we meet it. Many of you will have doubtless studied the global financial crisis, the GFC, and its impact on the world. Much has also been written about corporate ethics in the aftermath of the GFC. Simon Longstaff of the Ethics Centre has written, and I quote, "The root cause of the global financial crisis was not a failure of regulation, but of ethics." He argues that regulation could have been more robust, but contends that the trigger for the crisis was the initial decision to lend money in the US to people who were unlikely to be able to repay their loans, and then to reclassify those subprime mortgages as investment-grade assets, and that was unethical. Concerns about ethical behaviour, of course, are not new, but in the years since the GFC, there's been a healthy debate about the need for appropriate standards and regulations to ensure that people, consumers and businesses are protected from the unethical behaviour of a few. The Royal Commission into Financial Services has provided numerous examples of appalling behaviour, and lack of care for other people's money. The Royal Commissioner, Kenneth Hayne, in handing down his report in February this year, concluded that there were 6 basic norms that people in financial services should adhere to, and they are: obey the law, do not mislead or deceive, act fairly, provide services that are fit for purpose, deliver services with reasonable care and skill, and when acting for another, act in the best interests of that other. These are very basic principles, and you would have thought perhaps didn't need stating, but the events of the last few years, I think, prove otherwise. I think the fact that they did need to be restated was a damning indictment on the culture of too many organisations. Clearly, the need to behave well does not only apply to financial services. In all walks of life, it is imperative to behave ethically and to set a high ethical standard to colleagues, customers, and to all we meet. Of course, perhaps only some of you will work in financial services. Many of you will go on to further study, into academia, into the other professions, to start-up firms, to self-employment, and to a wide range of occupations and professions. My wish for you is that you have long and satisfying careers and, more importantly, long and satisfying lives, that you continue to grow and to learn, you continue to find ways to make a difference to the people in your lives and your communities, and that you continue to stay connected to this great institution, the University of Wollongong. In concluding, may I again offer you my congratulations on your achievements and once again express my thanks and gratitude to the University of Wollongong for this great honour bestowed on me today. Thank you.